girl, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ashantyselina, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about some spring fashion predictions. Notice I didn't say the word trend in that sentence because I'm not saying that these are trends. I'm just saying that these are some fashion predictions that I have for the spring that I'm going to be wearing, that I'm going to be participating in, and just some things that I think we're going to be seeing, not necessarily that are trending or that I think are going to start trending or that people will start getting into necessarily, but just some things that have to do with fashion that I'm loving. So let's get right into it. Imagine if I just held this candle the whole time while I was filming. So first things first is vintage Hollywood. I did talk a little bit about this in my 2025 fashion predictions video, but still the same goes for me for the spring. I'm definitely into all things vintage Hollywood, little baby doll dresses, anything that has to do with vintage Hollywood, again, like pearls, these sort of like big button earrings, anything. I'll put pictures as well because I'm sure you guys can understand me more when I add pictures to go along with what I'm saying. Anything that's along these lines, and also like shoes, like those feather heels. Again, I've already mentioned that before. Vintage like 50s cheerleader uniforms and monogram sweaters. Anything with that sort of like 50s to like 70s appeal is what I am obsessed with, especially going into spring. Dance shoes with like vintage Hollywood vibes. I'm very, 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 very into these dance shoes. I'll leave some pictures here. If you guys have seen Dirty Dancing, you know, like Baby's little silver dance shoes that she wears. I'm very obsessed with shoes like that right now, and that kind of plays into that vintage Hollywood vibe. Those little like mod 60s dresses and anything with like those vintage looking colors. Again, like I said, I'm just gonna leave pictures because for some reason I can never like think of exactly what I'm trying to say, of course. Next thing is individuality. Now, I wrote down here like this has caused a shift in high fashion, hence a bunch of like creative directors going from brand to brand and quitting and being let go. I feel like a lot of like people and brands, they don't really know what's trending anymore because I feel like everybody is just loving what they're loving. Like everybody is kind of doing their own thing in a sense. And that's where I feel like the individuality comes in for fashion. But I feel like in spring, it's going to be like more present just because the weather is warmer and we have more freedom to like put less on, if that makes sense. So I'm going to leave again some pictures, but I just feel like everybody is into just doing their own thing, which is I'm obsessed with. Like I've always been into just doing my own thing, whatever that may be, whatever I'm loving, whatever I'm currently vibing with at the moment, I will just put it on. I don't care if it's in magazines or if it's in trend videos. It's if it's something that I like, it's something that I'm going to get into and wear regardless. The next fashion prediction that I have for the spring is hot pants. I feel like hot pants have always been kind of like here and there. Obviously, we know like these American Apparel disco pants were like huge, and of course, with the revival of 2010s fashion and indie sleeves, I feel like everything from that era was kind of coming back around, like sort of ending of last year and then into this year as well. So I feel like hot pants are going to be very, very big. The next thing I have is dance core, and that kind of plays into what I was saying about like the dancing shoes, but more specifically like Pilates socks, tutus, showgirl ensembles, anything like this. Again, I'll leave pictures, but I'm just very obsessed with these dancing uniforms and accessories. I'm going to start acting classes really soon, and I'm really excited. So I feel like just in case, you know, obviously we do some dancing, I want to get a bunch of this stuff just to like prep myself and be ready to not only look good at my acting classes, but feel good as well. Next thing I have for the spring is quirky pieces. Now I put in parentheses art like, specifically because if they look like art, if they look like they can be in the museum, I feel like it's acceptable to wear for the spring. At least for me anyway. I just really like weird fashion. I already said that in like my second to last video, I believe it was. But I'm obsessed with anything quirky, anything out of the box, anything weird, anything questionable, anything that maybe your grandma would have worn and you would have been like, girl, what the fuck? that for me, that is my vibe for spring all the way. The next thing I have written down is hats galore. I'm not even talking about one specific hat style. I am loving any sort of hat for the spring, which is really hard for me to say because I'm usually not a hat person, but for some reason I have just been obsessed with any sort of hat, specifically again vintage styles like pillbox hats and like berets and newsboy caps in some forms. I'll leave pictures. The next thing isn't necessarily a fashion item, but I just wrote down Virginia Slim cigarettes. I feel like these cigarettes are really like stylish. I'm not saying that smoking is becoming a trend, but I feel like a lot more people are seen with like a cigarette in their mouths. Not even for me, it wouldn't be like, to actually smoke. It would be more of like a prop. So I feel like these cigarettes are really cute and chic, especially for the spring to take pictures with. The next thing is colored tights, but in a 60s slash twee slash Zoe Deschanel type of way. I've really been obsessed with her style, and I just love the way that her and a bunch of other people that have similar like styles kind of like wear colored tights. So that's the kind of way that I'm trying to wear them for the spring. I'm obsessed with specifically like mustard colored tights and like an eggplant purple, but literally any color tights are definitely it for spring for me. The next thing is polos. Now, I always had like a love-hate relationship with polos just because I did wear uniforms from 6th to 8th grade and I had to wear polos, but I'm talking like again 2010s tight-fitting polos. This OG BFF polo is really cute and really chic, of course. So yeah, anything that's like this vibe is up my alley for spring for sure. Next thing I did mention in my spring trends video last year, but it's kind of like more specific to just scorpion jewelry. I still love bug jewelry and I still think bug jewelry is always in for spring, but specifically scorpions everywhere, like specifically on bolo ties. I also think bolo ties are back. Timothy Chalamet, my king, wearing this look just again proved my point already, and we're not even in spring yet. And I wrote this down like weeks ago, so not saying I'm a magician, but I just personally love scorpion jewelry now, and any sort of like bug jewelry I feel like is still again relevant. So definitely getting into that more for me. As I've already dipped my toes in. The next thing I'm calling medieval sleeves because it's kind of a mixture to me of medieval and indie sleeves, plus a little bit of like boho and like indie codes, I guess you can say. Again, I'll leave pictures. I've just been loving medieval core anything, and I feel like mixing that into the whole 2010s vibe is a more like toned down way to wear it for spring and just wear medieval vibes in general. Nobody's actually gonna be out here dressed in like a full ass fucking night costume like from the Burberry show. No, nobody's actually going to be dressed like that. The next thing is buttons, and I'm going to be really quick with this one just because I feel like I've already mentioned this, but buttons of all sizes, big buttons, small buttons, buttons on your clothes, buttons on your bags, on your shoes, literally anywhere. Buttons are just it for spring, period. And any other fucking season, to be honest. The next thing I have again is more synchronized with my style and what I'm loving for spring, and that is just circus codes like stripes, lace ruffles, military jackets, kind of like the one I'm wearing. A bunch of just this stuff, again, leaving pictures. I've been obsessed with that. A lot of the things that I mentioned, specifically the accessories, are really like minuscule little details that like they don't really mean much, but once you put them on, it makes the outfit a little bit more over the top and it gives it like that muchness that it was lacking before. So I feel like these are just things that are just, even if it's an extra layer or an extra hairpin, if it's over accessorized, I feel like it looks better. I don't know. Or same thing when it goes for dressing. That is pretty much it for my spring fashion predictions. Let me know what you guys think in the comments and like and subscribe only if you want to, girl. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.